Show me.
Hi, I'm Mark Conrad, Superintendent of Schools for the Nashua School District. With me today is Randy Calhoun, an elementary teacher and director of our elementary summer school program, and Susan Almeida, director of the 21st Century programs for the Nashua School District. We wanted to spend some time today talking about our summer programs in the Nashua School District. We've really undergone a transformation for a number of programs in the last 2 summers. Each year, we serve over 700 students in summer programs across the district. We have programs for students who may have disabilities and require extended year educational opportunities, programs for English language learners. We have seniors from high school who are finishing up their last credits to earn their degree. A week ago, we had a midsummer graduation with 17 seniors earning their diploma. We also have programs for both elementary and middle school students to improve their chances of success in the classroom come the school year. 2 years ago, we started a process of really changing the way we deliver summer school for many of our students, beginning with a program our high school staff developed for incoming 9th grade students. We called the program Kickstart, and we identified 60 students who we thought were struggling academically in terms of their grades or their attendance in the middle school, and brought them into a summer program before their entry into high school in the 9th grade. And we created it as a very hands-on, active program for those students working in our career and technical education programs in areas like culinary arts, cosmetology, pre-engineering. And the level of engagement and excitement for those students was tremendous. We had one student, for example, who had been absent for 40 days in the 8th grade who had perfect attendance in that program. And it really sparked the understanding in us that we need to do more to engage students, particularly in the summer. And that was really what led to the creative vision for making significant changes in our elementary summer school program. Randy, can you talk to us a little bit about the new program you put into place this year?
Sure. What I understood my charge to be was to put together a program where science activities, design and engineering activities would drive the literacy and the math. We are bringing in a lot of literacy. The kids are writing in a science notebook. They're dealing with data every day. They're dealing with the problem solving, the group dynamics of just these wonderful activities that we were able to assemble. And just thrilled with what the teachers have been able to do and just the things that I see going on with the kids.
I was able to visit the program. It's at 2 locations, Amherst Street and Fairgrounds Middle School. I was able to visit the program the first day and the first few hours of operation, and the hallway was littered with styrofoam tracks, and students were experimenting running marbles down the track. I remember walking up to one student and asking them what they were doing, and they basically said, well, I'm really too busy to talk. They were already thoroughly engaged in what they were doing. Can you talk about some of the experiments that students were engaged in?
Sure. The program comes from, it's called Design It, and we got the tip actually from Sue for the after-school programs. It's really just all about design and engineering challenges. They were doing roller coasters that week. They've done trebuchets, straw rockets, bubbles, just a number of different design problems. The teachers, help the kids sort of see, well, what worked, what didn't work, what's one thing you can change, so that we can kind of do a fair test and identify a variable that we might be able to change on how this works. They're working on rubber band cars one week, and well, did the bigger rubber band work better? What about if we put the smaller wheels here and the bigger wheels here? And just that kind of thinking and the dynamics that go on. The 6th grade group has been doing some wonderful stuff. They've had a theme every week. They've been out in environmental science, out in Mine Falls. They've been to the Ecotarium. They are going today down to Boston to the Harvard Museum and to the MIT Museum. They're working with science skills that the kids are going to be using once they're in the middle school to try to give them a leg up, and maybe even call on them like, well, you can help a group because you know how to work a microscope, you know how to do some of the things that we're doing.
I thought one of the innovative aspects of that, and again we saw this from the Kickstart program at the high schools, we actually hired high school students who were either interested in careers in science or careers in teaching to work with our teachers as paraprofessionals, teacher aides in the classroom. They seemed to be very excited about what they were doing.
Yeah, we had a process of really vetting to look for the kids who have done a lot with kids, demonstrated that they have got some skills with working with children, but also they're really enthusiastic about science. The Science Honor Society was one group we kind of pulled kids from, and the Future Teachers group, and we were able to get just some outstanding kids, and we had to turn down some outstanding kids too. Unfortunately, it was hard to do, but that's proven to be a really nice, we call them mentors, and I kind of see that relationship. They're working with the group, supporting them, helping them, not by giving them the answer, but just by encouraging them. Maybe there's a question, maybe a way you can push the kid in a direction, but one thing I love about this is that we're not giving the answers. And the kids are relying on themselves, they're relying on the skills that we're watching them build to solve a lot of these challenges.
We actually have a clip we can watch of one of your programs in action. Do you want to set the stage for the clip? Or?
Well, we filmed a few different things. The kids were working with bubbles and geometric shapes, so there was a math connection there. There are trebuchets, which is a kind of a catapult, and they're experimenting with different variables, working with that as well.
One of the challenges we face with summer school is really a challenge for our parents in meeting the needs for childcare.
Right.
Our summer science program was a half-day program, and if you're a working parent, a half-day really doesn't work for you. Can you talk about how the 21st Century program has helped solve that problem for many of our parents?
Sure. We've been in the district, I think, going on 11 years now with elementary and 3 years for the middle school program. And what we do during the school year is provide after school till about 6 o'clock every evening. But in the summer, as you say, Mark, there's always a challenge of we want the students in to be learning, and especially in this new innovative program where there's a really, the component is very much hands-on. But for working parents, getting out at noon isn't necessarily convenient. So what we've been able to do is sort of complement the morning program by offering camp activities in the afternoon. So students can stay on site, they're able to have lunch there, and then there's sort of a smooth transition right into camp activities that include anything from additional field trips and arts and crafts and just some fun summer learning and swimming in the community pools. And that way we allow parents to know that their children are in a safe environment, that they're having fun, that they're supervised, and it allows for a full day.
Now, you also run a wide variety of programs in both our elementary, many of our elementary schools and our middle schools during the school year as well, to provide that after-school care that parents may need, along with providing an engaging program for students. Can you talk a little bit about some of the programs you offer during the school year?
Sure. Well, one of the things that Randy mentioned is last year we were lucky enough to partner with 4-H with this Design It curriculum that you guys use for the summer, and we had our staff trained in that program to be able to bring it to our kids in the after-school program. So it was really nice to see that some of the kids had a taste of what you guys did in the summer, and then they were able really to delve deeper into it in the engineering aspect and the science aspect. So, you know, that's part of what we do is we try to do a lot of hands-on, and we follow that philosophy of what was done in the summer is a lot of hands-on learning and after school. But we also know that it's after school, and our students need a break from a long school day. They need to have fun. They need to experience and grow, you know, socially and emotionally with their peers. So we try to balance between allowing our kids to do homework and have some tutoring and after school with other enrichment activities where they will grow in those areas and they will learn teamwork and collaboration and some problem solving. So we really run a gamut of what we offer in after school. We basically have 8-week sessions, so children can choose what they want every day of the week for those 8 weeks, and then a new schedule will come out with new and exciting activities, so the kids aren't getting bored with the same thing all year long. And you know, we find that the parents do need this care, and we offer at very minimal price to parents, so you know, we find that it's affordable for the kids who need it most in our district.
I think 21st Century has really led the way with hands-on learning in many ways. I'm familiar with one of the projects that you had going on in one of your sessions, which through Pennachuck Middle School, we had a group of students who in the 21st Century program after school actually got a grant for snowshoes, and they went out in the middle of winter, and they actually mapped the trail system in Roby Park, which hadn't been mapped before. The city provided GPS, handheld GPS units, so they learned how to use longitude and latitude and how to use GPS coordinates to map. And in the end, they produced a product for the city, which was the first trail map for Roby Park.
Right, and I think the mayor was involved with that,
He was.
and it was really exciting for our students because, again, it was obviously a lot of fun to be snowshoeing, you know, in the winter after school, but there was a lot of learning that was involved, and we had a lot of great teachers and adults working with us in that program.
I remember when I was talking to the group of students, about 15 students involved, I said to them, so how many of you saw your grades go up this semester? And 2/3 of them raised their hands. It really, once you find a point of entry for engaging a student in any class, it often leads to further engagement across the curriculum.
And what we're about and what we love to hear, we know we're doing a good job in after school when parents come to pick up their son or daughter and it's 5:45 and we hear, oh, I don't want to go home yet. I mean, then we know that, you know, we're doing a good job, they're having fun, but there's learning going on at the same time.
And Randy, I think one of the reasons our programs was so successful this summer was we really had a dynamite group of teachers. And you had said you thought it was a learning experience for our teachers as well. What do you think they took away from this new program?
Well, I think, you know, when I talk with them, the excitement that they feel for what they're doing kind of rubs off and benefits the children's learning. It's not easy to teach in a sort of an inquiry approach. You know, it takes a different understanding of what teaching's all about, more facilitative as opposed to being the source of knowledge, you know. You're guiding the children in solving problems and in building concepts. And that's not so easy to do. We have a tremendous group of teachers. I just can't say enough about the skill that I've seen in the conversations between the teachers and the children, just the way that the children have been engaged. Every time I go in the classroom, the kids are just, they don't want to stop, just the way you say. You know, we have to quit now, and they just still want to be involved in these activities. I see they're building some real important skills in terms of problem solving, in terms of teamwork. One of the teachers yesterday was telling me of the growth she saw in just this one child, where in the first week he would have been off on his own trying to solve this, and she heard him say, you know, this worked best because we did it as a team. Another child that had been, I think, a refugee just a few years ago and is still kind of struggling with the language issues, she says, you know, in the beginning, he's not using full sentences to talk to his group. Now he is. And this is just in 4 or 5 weeks. There's a lot of things that are hard to measure, but I think the children, through the skill of the teachers, are really building their thinking skills, their problem-solving skills, their teamwork skills, which has just got to translate to learning.
And what's exciting about that, too, is it really ties in with the district's effort to implement an inquiry-based science program throughout the elementary grades. We're in the second year of implementation that you've had a very active hand this prior year working directly with teachers in the inquiry-based approach.
Yeah, and now I know this, I'm seeing a lot of interest in it anyway, but now I know here's this core of teachers that have really got into it, and I know they're not going to want to quit. You know, they're going to want to keep teaching this way and keep giving kids these opportunities.
Right.
And what's nice, Randy, is now that we have this program, we have worked with a lot of your teachers, a lot of the school day staff work in after school as well. And to hear you talk about their excitement is something that we can continue in after school. You know, if it can't all be done in the classroom during the day, we have the opportunity to continue it in after school in a fun and hands-on and engaging way with these teachers who still have that excitement.
Right.
And you
So
really
that's exciting.
tie in different ways to the academic program during the year through some of your tutoring programs
Right.
and other programs too.
Right, right.
So,
I think some of the teachers, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
talked about how there were really much fewer discipline issues when the kids are kept busy.
Absolutely.
And that we almost went through and said, yeah, that one would have given me a hard time. But in this setting,
Too busy.
they're just too busy. They were wonderful.
and what's interesting is as you mentioned before, there are lasting effects to these programs. We've tracked some of the high school students in the 9th grade who went through the Kickstart program, and we see really good attendance, much better academic results than we might have seen in those students in their prior years in middle school. So these programs do have a lasting effect on our students in a short period of time. Well, Randy, Susan, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk about our programming. I think we can build on this in the future, which is very exciting. And I want to thank all of you for watching our conversation today and getting a better sense of some of our summer programs in the Nashua School District. Have a great day.